Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from I'm Not Crazy MMK and says, my 20 female, boyfriend 23 male, announced my mental condition to a party full of people against my will. Should I leave him? I have a well-controlled mental condition that I'm very private about. I take 2 separate medications twice a day, every 12 hours, and for the most part, it does not affect my daily life. Luckily, I have a fantastic doctor who worked with me to experiment with medications until I found a combination that worked for me with minimal side effects. I'm just saying this to demonstrate that this is not a significant issue in my life anymore, and it is not necessary for many people to know. I started dating my boyfriend almost a year ago, and he has been great, just a little dopey. He's not a subtle person, and can't keep a secret to save his life. So even though I told him before we started dating that I have this condition, that is well controlled, and I don't really like people to know about it, he went ahead and told his parents. I was pissed but told him not to tell anyone else and we got through it. Well, last weekend, I went to a friend and his party and while they all got drunk, I sipped on a soda. Many of his friends were concerned that I wasn't drinking and kept saying stuff like, "It's okay that you're underage, you can still have a beer. Want me to make you a cocktail?" I was starting to become uncomfortable with the comments when my boyfriend, in his infinite wisdom, decides to announce, "Oh, she's not drinking because it affects her medication." Okay, well, now I'm pretty pissed, but whatever. No one really mentioned it further. Well then, a little later, my alarm goes off and my boyfriend, who is drunk by now, literally yells to me, "Hey babe, it's time to take your crazy pills." He turns to other people and goes, "Yeah, she has a condition and has to take pills for it." I just stared at him. I could not believe that he would do this to me. I just met some of these people, now they all know something incredibly personal about me that is nobody's damn business. I hate the way people treat me after they find out. Like I'm unhinged or damaged or something. I don't want anybody's pity. It's fucking well controlled for Christ's sake. I grabbed his keys and went to the car and he followed me, asking what was wrong. I didn't say anything, just drove us home and I haven't really talked to him since, even though he's been apologizing profusely. Is this something I can even forgive him for? Should I? What should I do here? Seriously, I'm so upset and angry. He had no right. That would be absolutely over for me. You know, he's done this twice now. First with his parents, which it sounded like you had a moment to get through because of all this. And then he publicly humiliated you at a party. And it sounded to me like he did that for a laugh at your expense. There was absolutely no reason to do that whatsoever. And when you try to stand in his shoes and try and think, what was he thinking when he said that at this party? I can picture it in my head and I can't think of a good reason why you would ever do that unless you're just trying to humiliate someone. But commenters say, if my boyfriend called out, "Time to take your crazy pills" at a party, I'd probably dump him. OP responds saying, "Yeah, that pissed me off to no end." And then he pulled that shit and literally told them the condition. And this is like a well-known condition that is pretty much automatically associated with being crazy. Princess says, "Wow, that was incredibly sensitive. I suffer from depression, but it's getting to the point where that's not really taboo anymore. I can't imagine if my boyfriend blurted out something super personal to a room full of people. Girl, you deserve better." OP says, "Yeah, I couldn't even believe it. Like, we've been to parties before. I've seen him drunk before and he didn't do anything like that. I think maybe it was because some old friends of his were there and they were really, how do I put this? Like immature and making really insensitive jokes. Like these guys were loud and noisy and I didn't like them at all. I especially didn't like how my boyfriend was acting around them. Edit, that is not an excuse. What he did was so shitty. I'm so fucking pissed at him." Red Mink says, "Yeah, that makes it worse. So he turned into an arsehole at your expense just because he wanted to fit in with his arsehole friends. You were well shot of him." OP says, "I know. I was really bothered by his behavior. He knows I get anxiety in loud environments too. Before we went, he was like, "Don't worry, everyone there is super chill." Yeah, right. Opie also says, sometimes he calls them my crazy pills at home, and I just elbow him to shut up. But to say something like that at a party where he knows that I don't like people to know about my condition was beyond out of line. Not a Real Rabbit says, I'm glad you've cleared out, but I just want to say, if it was bothering you even at home, he should have cut that right out. If you want to talk about them that way, if you find it helpful, that's one thing, but it's not something he gets to decide is hilarious and impose on you. Opie then says, yeah, I'm going to put a definite end to that if it happens with the next guy. I have a sense of humor. I just don't have a sense of humor about that. So Opie edited the post, and you can probably guessed it by now, and says, we broke up. And wow, I didn't think this was going to blow up like this. Thank you everyone who posted. I'm trying to respond to everyone, but there's so many. So it was around 11 days later that Opie did update the post and says, so I wasn't going to update, but a couple of people asked me to, so I decided I would. Before I went back on Saturday to get my stuff, I texted my ex to let him know and said if he wanted to talk, that would be the time to do it. He said okay, but when we got there, he wasn't there. So we packed everything up and I officially moved back home. He tried reaching out to me via text a couple of times, but I told him I was really hurt he decided not to be there. I guess I still kind of wanted to salvage things, and that I had nothing more to say to him. I blocked him to resist temptation. Now the exciting part of the update. I'd gotten a Facebook request from one of our mutual friends who was also at the party. She told me that she thought my ex was an arse for what he did and told me that she had GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, and would kill her boyfriend, who was also there if he ever pulled something like that. We had a long and nice conversation, and she invited me out to the movies with her boyfriend and his brother. I went, and guess what? His brother and I totally hit it off. He's pretty shy, and I didn't realize it then, but I guess they were trying to hook us up. Anyway, I'm not sure how I feel about dating a guy younger than me. He's 19 and turns 20 in December, but who knows? It hasn't been long since we broke up though, so if we do get together, it probably won't be soon. But as of now, I have a coffee/study date with him for next Friday. Thank you for everyone who commented on my original post. You may have not known it, but everyone sharing your stories really helped me and kept me strong when I wanted to text him every night. Opie talking about her date and the age gap between them. I had to scroll back. She's 20 years older herself. He's what, 19? Bloody toxic relationship that is. Just kidding, of course, if you didn't get my sarcasm. Some people will comment on the back of this that OP shouldn't be dating straight after this, etc. But the majority of people saying that OP's just made the right choice in this scenario and they would do exactly the same. And I guess it depends where you are. Just going back to what OP would, one of the commenters saying, and you know, anxiety and depression medication being taboo these days, and it's less so, which is absolutely the case, thank goodness. But you still get the odd person giving you that like what the fuck look when you mention it, because I'm pretty open about it. When I was going through the moment where loads of deaths in my family a couple of years back, I was taking sertraline because I was in a really dark place at one moment, and I can remember telling a couple of people about it and them almost like stepping back going like, whoa. And you know, this isn't really related to the story, and honestly, I didn't blame them at the time because they didn't really know about, you know, depression medication and how it works, etc. They just bought into what everyone else has said, you know, like crazy pills. But usually like a quick conversation talking about the effects it has on me, why I'm taking it, usually help with the understanding a bit more, you know. And majority of the time I find people wanting to listen and understand about it, etc. Not that I'm preaching to them all the time about it, by the way. Just if it ever comes up in conversation, you know. And just to reiterate, I'm not saying the guy in this story didn't understand or anything like that, because he was an arse. He knew exactly what he was doing. Announcing to a party like that, you know, just not on. Don't blame OP one bit. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account, and it says, me, 28 male, with my girlfriend, 27 female, of 6 months. She found out that one of her co-workers is my ex-friend / friends with benefits, 27 female. She felt insecure. Now one of my sweaters I got from ex is torn up. Is this breakup worthy? I really, really loved this sweater. It was smart casual with a striped pattern from a fancy Italian brand. I could wear it to work as well as an evening out, and I really liked how I looked in it. I'm really pissed to lose it. Background on the relationship. My girlfriend is Hannah. We met because we live on the same street, and we used to have our pre-work morning coffee at the same cafe. Our coffee meetup slowly turned into dates, and we've officially been a couple for about 6 months. I like her. She's sweet and smart and pretty, but we are taking it slow since both of us were coming off of terrible breakups. She broke up with her fella of 10 years. Their relationship ended in a hail of fights and petty behavior, which tore apart their friends and pissed off their families. The reasons were never clear to me. All Hannah said was that all their relationship problems came up at the same time and everything unraveled. My breakup was kinda different. Haley and I never officially dated, but we had been friends for a very long time. We slept together once when we were both between relationships, but we were both sure that we worked better as friends. 2 years back, Haley broke up from a bad relationship and got into a semi-official friends with benefits situation, i.e. we would still hang out and talk as friends, but once in a while we'd also have some form of physical intimacy. Both of us also got really busy with our careers, so we really never had any other romantic relationships. Around Christmas 2015, Haley brought up our relationship and told me that she was falling for me as more than a friend and wanted to explore a relationship with me. I didn't. I had my own reasons, mainly that we had some fundamentally mismatched views on life that would make a relationship really hard. We worked really well as friends and she was really important to my life. I didn't want to jeopardize that by getting into a relationship. Well, I still lost that friendship. She essentially went no contact, and no matter how much I hated it, I couldn't really say much since it was a reasonable thing for her to do for her own sake. But it really hurt. Losing her as a friend hurt way more than any breakup I've ever had, and it took me a while to find my footing. Hannah knew the basic details about mine and Haley's relationship and wasn't too curious about it. She also knew that I had a few things that Haley had given me, but never raised an issue about it, especially since she had a bunch of gifts from her ex as well. This Christmas, I accompanied Hannah to her office Christmas party. To my surprise, Haley was also there. Turns out that she started working there recently at a different department from Hannah's. We exchanged pleasantries and tried some small talk, but it was awkward and lasted maybe 3 minutes, most of which was silent. Then Haley left early and I didn't see her again. While I talked to Haley, Hannah was somewhere else, and when she came back I told her about it. She had never met her before. Big company, but her curiosity was piqued. In any case, I got into a jovial party mood and everything went back to normal. Until last Friday. When I was at work, I got a flurry of texts from Hannah basically stating that she finally met Haley. Now, you should know that Haley is really attractive, like modeling offers since she was 16 attractive. Plus her job also means that she's always dressed to kill. Event manager for high-end corporate parties. Well, seeing Haley did a number on Hannah. She didn't come out and say it, but she suddenly got extremely curious about Haley, as well as our relationship. With a lot of questions about everything. She even specifically mentioned the sweater, saying, "No wonder you love that sweater so much." I tried my best to assuage her insecurities. I told her there was absolutely nothing between Haley and me. We haven't even talked to each other in more than a year, except for 3 awkward minutes during that party. I also told her that I really liked her and could see our relationship going pretty far, but I was also low-key annoyed with the whole conversation. Anyways, Hannah slept over Saturday night and I thought we had gotten somewhat past this momentary burst of jealousy. Then she left early on Sunday morning saying something had come up even though we had plans to spend the day together. In the evening I was going through my laundry and I saw the sweater with a big hole in the armpit like someone had tried to literally pull it apart with their bare hands. Now it's obvious that it was Hannah's doing. I had worn that sweater on Thursday and when I put it aside for dry cleaning, it was fine. No one else had come to my flat since then. I texted her asking about it directly. May have not been the best tactic, but I was incredibly pissed off. She was on the defensive from the get-go, denying that she did it, coming up with various ways that could have happened and continuously telling me that I was an asshole for thinking that she was crazy like that. Today morning she texted me all pissed and curt and told me that yes, the provenance of the sweater bothered her, but she didn't do it. I think I need to dump her, but I've been second guessing myself a fair bit as well. Hannah has always been really sweet and is very caring and sensitive about my feelings. I really like her and we don't have any fundamental differences. We can genuinely have a good, fulfilling relationship, and maybe this ripping up a sweater thing was just a momentary lapse of judgment, which she is extremely embarrassed about and hence a defensiveness. What do you think? Oh dear, it's one of those videos where I just feel like I'm telling everyone to break up, but I can't see any other way around this. I mean, you could potentially talk it out, but I certainly wouldn't be doing it in this case. The fact is, Hannah has destroyed your top, your prized possession top, something that you really love, out of jealousy, and then lied to you and gaslit you about it repeatedly. Sure, sometimes people do get insecure and jealous, but destroying someone else's shit because of it is absolutely wild. You're 6 months in and she's showing you how she handles that kind of thing with destruction and then turning it back around on you. I would certainly be done with this from my perspective, but Jiltro says not wanting to date someone anymore is all you need in order to break up. I think most people would consider willful destruction of your property enough to not want to date someone any longer. Another commenter says, I can't imagine dating someone who would fly into a jealous rage and destroy my property because an old ex was attractive. That's really insane. Raygun says, my ex, who I have a 5-year long distance restraining order against, destroyed a dozen items of my clothing by tearing holes in them in a jealous rage. Only batshit fucking crazy assholes do this. Don't date anyone who does. Howie says, if she ripped a hole in your sweater because you used to date an attractive woman, I'm guessing the breakup won't be pleasant. So OP does update the post and says, since it's been 10 days and the matter has been settled in a satisfactory manner, I thought I'd update you guys as to the final conclusion. I've had a few pints, so forgive the disjointedness. FHQs. It was a Loro Piana jumper. It's not repairable. I asked around. Never heard of that brand before, and I had a look on there. Nice jumpers. Then I saw the fucking price. I was like, holy moly. OP continues, my evidence for knowing that Hannah was the culprit is circumstantial, but compelling. Firstly, after I put it in the pile meant for dry cleaning, it was covered by a bunch of other stuff. When I discovered its tattered remains, it was bunched up in a ball on top of the pile. Secondly, the tear was 8 inches to 20 centimeters long, something I would have noticed quite comfortably if it had happened while I was wearing it or while I put it in the laundry pile. Thirdly, while it was torn, it was also stretched completely out of shape. The stretching would be consistent with someone grabbing two sides of it and pulling it apart. But most convincingly, when I confronted Hannah, aggressively I admit, she started telling me about all the alternative ways in which damage could have happened with exact knowledge of the type of damage that my poor jumper had suffered. I'd never mentioned the type of damage. Namely, it was in the armpit area along with a seam, along with the stretching. To the lady who sent me a very heartful and foul-mouthed rant/plea. Yes, I think people have every right to feel insecure/inadequate. Yes, people have every right to act like an idiot. Yes, I've done stupid things due to my lack of control over my emotions. And yes, I'm weird and materialistic enough to love a jumper more than the woman I'm dating. But no, I don't think she deserves my forgiveness for this slip-up, and that is because it wasn't the insecurity, it was the lack of control, and it wasn't the materialism that made me want to break up, it was the lying and deceitful manner in which she behaved afterwards. It was the insanely manipulative way in which she turned herself into the victim and demanded an apology from me. And yet, the cursing directed at me didn't help. The story is fairly dramatic as well as anticlimactic. Her curt behavior after my ill-fated confrontation lasted for 2 days. Then she called about 40 times to beg me for forgiveness. Even though I avoided the calls, I did hear the voicemails and my empathy was piqued. She also pretty much admitted to her guilt in some of those voicemails. But then I also came to know that preceding those calls, she had lashed out towards Haley, my ex-friend/friend with benefits, at their workplace, and that it was ugly, as well as had potential to spiral negatively for her career. That made me feel really bad for Haley. She didn't deserve to be dragged into the drama she played no active role in. The anticlimactic part is that I didn't even have to break up with Hannah. She has essentially moved in with her parents up north. She sent me a message through a mutual acquaintance stating that she realizes she has quite a few issues she needs to handle from her breakup with her ex-fiancé, and our decision to date was pretty much doomed from the start. I wish her the best of luck with her journey. Another mutual acquaintance approached me, this one between me and Haley. She sent word apologizing for a role in my relationship meltdown. I told her there was nothing to apologize on her end. I also asked for her forgiveness for inadvertently causing workplace dramatics, and that's that. Thank you for your words and brickbats? Brickbats? It was enlightening, entertaining, and infuriating. Interesting combination for sure, but then that's why one turns to random internet strangers for advice. Java says, the top comment on the update says, I looked at what Laura Piana charges for stuff. Whoa, that's an expensive jumper. He says, I did not recognize that brand, had to look it up. Apparently I did not recognize it because I'm a goddamn peasant. Holy shit. Another commenter says, yeah, I didn't realize the typical Laura Piana price tag is a 4-figure sum. Eek. PM me says, geez, even the cheaper ones are more than I paid for my car. To be fair, it's a shitty car, but you can't drive a sweater. Commenter replies on why they're so expensive, and they said, for anyone wondering why it's so expensive, still, some manufacturers are known for their regular use of Mongolian cashmere, like Laura Piana. Laura Piana is one of the highest end cashmere producers in the world. Roche says. They have their own herds that they control. They're completely in charge of that environment, and the animals are being treated so well. The goats are really thriving. You can't just bring the goats to Italy, where Laura Piana is based, because they won't produce the same kind of cashmere as they do in Inner Mongolia, where the climate and environment is perfectly suitable for the best cashmere. I feel like I'm selling here. I'm honestly not. I can't afford that shit. And there was just loads of people talking about the price, and the final one said, please. The first one I clicked on was $2,695. I was like, damn. Then I clicked on another one, and it was over $9,000. Who are these people who are buying $9,000 jumpers? Yeah, and I don't blame OP one bit from stepping back in that situation. It was the right thing to do, because that was just one bout of jealousy, and she decided to destroy something. OP's prized possession, by the sounds of it, that could be worth thousands of dollars at the same time. And that's one of the things that really pissed me off. She's destroyed something like that. I don't know if it can be sewn up or whatever, but she's damaged something like that and not paid for it afterwards, just sort of walked away from it. I mean, it's really good that she's recognized that she needs to take a step back. She got some issues going on, because otherwise she's just going to go to another relationship and potentially the same thing will happen. And I hope that she does get whatever help that she needs to be in a better place. But at the same time, it doesn't excuse that behavior to begin with. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Affiliate link below for your $9,000 jumper. I'm just kidding. Just a huge thank you for being here today. Get involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.